DC has a lot of very exciting new projects on the horizon, and DC fandom was an absolute blast and a success for the franchise. But there is also one old project on the horizon that has been having a lot of work and news reported about it recently, and that is none other than the coveted Snyder Cut of the Justice League. There's been reports of different characters who will be appearing in this other version of the Justice League, including Jared Leto's The Joker, Green Lantern reprised by Ryan Reynolds, and many other characters. But today we're talking about a report of one character in particular that fans have been clamoring for more of on the big screen. None other than Deathstroke. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Cosmic Culture. It's Chris, and if you love to stay up to date on all major movie and television news, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button as we're covering it here on the channel. And today, some crazy, cool DC Snyder Cut news. Deathstroke is expected to now have more screen time in the Snyder Cut edition than he did obviously in the Joss Whedon edition, where he only showed up at the end being recruited by Lex Luthor. But now it is being reported by Collider exclusively that he will have more screen time and is returning for reshoots during the Justice League Snyder Cut touch-ups that they're doing with a lot of different characters. Ben Affleck, Ray Fisher, Gal Gadot, all actors who have been reported to be present during these reshoots, and many others. Like we talked about, there have been rumors and reports of the Joker returning, of Green Lantern returning, and all of these reports are pointing towards a really fun and exciting movie. But now we're hearing from Collider that Joe Manganiello will be reprising his role as Deathstroke and is a part of the reshoots. Now, there is a lot of movie that Zack Snyder had already shot, and different parts and elements that he can include from old footage that they have. And him going back and adding these reshoots is probably just him finishing his vision. He's already once said that 90% of his movie has already been shot and completed. It just needs a little bit of editing and some effects and the final touches with these reshoots. From what we've heard about characters who are returning, characters who will be included in the Snyder Cut versus Joss Whedon's edition of the Justice League, we can kind of start piecing together the direction that DC was probably headed with the DCEU prior to everything getting blown out of the water. Joss Whedon coming in, taking over, and then changing the direction of the DCEU as we know it. If Jared Leto's Joker is making a return, and we've heard Jared Leto's Joker was supposed to be in the original edition of Justice League when Zack Snyder was first in charge, that would make a lot of sense for connecting the DCEU, one of the biggest issues that the DCEU has faced. But Jared Leto's Joker, who also would appear in Suicide Squad, would be a very important connecting factor that was omitted by Joss Whedon, and that definitely left a huge hole in the DCEU plotline because it left us asking about the conjoining figures. But now we're hearing Deathstroke is also one of the characters who was expected to get more screen time under Zack Snyder and then was pushed to only a end credit scene by Joss Whedon. Now we've actually heard from Joe, the actor who plays Zack Snyder, earlier on about if he would return and play a role in the Snyder Cut. And he was pretty candid about it, saying, if I was a part of it, that wouldn't be my place to announce that. That would be Zack's place. So whether or not that's happening, that is an answer that is below my NDA level, or whatever you want to call it. Now we've already heard and know that Deathstroke was supposed to have a more prominent role in the movie, so it will be interesting to see how Zack intends on placing him in there, giving him that role, and what differences he's planning on making, even if it is with the end credit scene, and how Deathstroke will be added to the storyline. The other question really that most DC fans have at this point is, what does this change and does it even matter? Apart from seeing what we could have had, what does the Snyder Cut mean? Because the canon as of right now is Joss Whedon's Justice League, and the direction that everything is headed is based off of what we saw there. So now that we're getting the 4 one-hour-long segments of Zack Snyder's The Justice League, does this change anything? And honestly, the answer is a little unclear. From my perspective, and seeing how things have gone with DC fandom, the release of the Snyder Cut isn't going to change the canon of DC. And yes, because of the changing of directors and the lack of cognitive understanding between the movies that have come out in the DCEU, there definitely have been a lot of questions and disappointment. But from what we saw in DC fandom, it seems like DC now has a plan, a direction, and a heading for where they're going with these movies, and that is the expanded DC universe, no longer just the DCEU. And although that timeline exists, and it was going to be their connected universe at first, they're planning on opening up the multiverse parallel universes in the Flash movie, and that is going to be the main focal point of the conjoining movies moving forward from here. Yes, the specific universes like the DCEU and all of the others currently being worked on will exist, but they will all connect from this Flash movie, which seems to be the direction moving forward. So the short answer to what does Zack Snyder's movie coming out mean for the collection of the DCEU? Really nothing. We're getting a cool movie that will show us what we could have had, and will give other characters like Deathstroke, potentially Green Lantern, potentially Joker, now we're hearing, really awesome opportunities to hit the screen and give us a feeling of what we could have had. Now, hopefully that all works out for the best and we get a really cool experience, but the future of DC is bright, the DC universe has a lot to offer, and DC is headed in a very strong direction. Let me know what you like to see Deathstroke do in the Snyder Cut, and how would you like to see him fit into the future of the DC universe? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, thank you to everybody who watched till the very end of the video. If you found it helpful, useful, or entertaining, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. We're covering all major movie and television news like the DC Universe right here on Cosmic Culture.